Hi, I'm Madeline Appold. I was an associate editor at 14 East in its first year. Then I became managing editor, and then I was editor-in-chief for 1 year. And I am currently a journalist product manager at the Wenatchee World in Wenatchee, Washington.
My name is Marissa Nelson. I'm a founding member of 14 East. I was the social media editor, director of development, engagement editor, and editor-in-chief. And I am now a Minot Fellow at WZTW Chicago Tonight.
Yo. My name is Dylan Van Sickle. I'm a former associate editor at 14 East Magazine, and I'm currently an associate digital line producer for CBS here in Chicago.
Hi everyone, my name is Michaela, and with 14 East, I was the director of development and an event planner. And now I currently work on the assignment desk at CBS Chicago.
Hello, 14 East and friends. My name is Meredith Milland, and I was the web developer for 14 East for 3 years, and I was also an associate editor my third year, and I graduated in the spring of 2020. My current position is as the digital content editor at the Daily Journal in Kankakee, Illinois. I got my job, I believe, in large part to the skills I developed at 14 East because my job is a combination of web development, editing, fact-checking, writing, and reporting, and I worked on those things the most during my time at 14 East.
What is the number one skill 14 East taught you? Oh gosh, I think honestly the best thing about 14 East is that it is so digital forward, and you can take many risks and try many different things, whether that's like reporting, doing photo galleries, or doing virtual events, doing open coffee hours. Those are all some of those like engagement initiatives that are really important and really help shape my career moving forward.
So the number one skill 14 East taught me was really how to communicate in a newsroom setting. You realize quickly while working that despite this industry being all about communication and connecting with people, things move just so fast that there isn't always any time to do that. So 14 East just did a great job empowering me and other people to harness the strength of their own voice in a way that is respectful and acknowledges everyone else in the room too.
The number one skill that I gained from 14 East was really how to think critically about my values in journalism and the kind of reporter that I want to be. I think something that really stands out to me is our process that we took on last year of creating a standards guide. It was quite the process because collective decision making is really at the core of 14 East. And so having about 20 people sort of give their opinions and make decisions about what our standards are going to be was a process and took a long time. But I think it was something that and then also all of our other work was really helpful in me developing an understanding of the kind of reporter that I am, the standards that I have for my own work, the values that I had. And I think I came out of 14 East and I came out of DePaul with a really strong understanding of that. Of course, it continues to evolve and change as I learn more and as the world changes. But I think having such a strong understanding so early on is really special and has been really helpful as I've sort of entered into the professional world of journalism.
The ability to manage time when working on stories and consider things like deadlines and multiple rounds of editing and getting feedback from other people and how to plan for that, but also how to keep at something that is just a personal project and is not for an assignment that doesn't have a set end date, just working on something until it feels like it's good enough.
What is the number one skill 14 East taught you? I think fact-checking, truly. Not just once, but twice, 3 times. Knowing you have the right data and facts and quotes goes a long way. And to connect to that, when I look at the reporting that 14 East has done, the integrity is what stands out the most. That and making sure all of Chicago is covered.
Okay, so I love 14 East and I love the work 14 East does because it's always very engaging, long form stories. And that's something that I realized when you get into later professions, and maybe because I'm in the newspaper industry now, it's not as common. You aren't not going to be able to do some of these really like fun cultural reporting, some of these more ephemeral pieces. It really does become tied to your geographic location. And if you can make those stories kind of work for where you are, then by all means go ahead. But for the most part, that's something that I really value in 14 East is these like fun, in-depth cultural reporting.
Across the board, I think something that really stands out in 14 East reporting is how thoughtful and intentional it is. I think it's never about, okay, this is happening, let's get the story out as quickly as possible. It's instead, okay, what's happening that we need to cover? What are the stories that we want to pour our resources into? And then how are we going to cover that story in a way that is different and in a way that is going to make an impact? That's especially true on stories that everybody in the city is going to be covering, like the hunger strike that's currently happening, or like the CTU strike from a few years ago. That's something that every outlet is going to cover. So how are we, or now, how are they going to tell it in a way that is different, that maybe lifts up voices that aren't often listened to or helps to do that? And that maybe brings readers in and brings the community in a way that other news outlets aren't necessarily going to do. And I think you can see that across the board in 14 East's work.
I think the reporting of 14 East is really impressive. The things that stand out to me the most are beautiful multimedia. Shout out to the illustrators who have been working so much this year, I'm sure, because of the pandemic. And everyone else who does interesting, great stuff with their multimedia. It's one of the main things that makes 14 East different from other publications on campus. And I would also say the emphasis on centering the community stands out to me in our reporting. That has been a through line throughout my time at DePaul, but I think was really emphasized at 14 East through its community engagement efforts, the way we write guides and stuff that kind of focus around the intended audience and the ways that we try to improve and serve them better. And I would also say the ability to do that and have timely reporting, but also still be able to do magazine projects, like theme issues, the well-roundedness of the 14 East coverage is very impressive. And I was also going to mention the teamwork, which is one of the main things that I think about from my time reporting at 14 East, is all of the stories that we worked on as a staff or in smaller reporting teams with editors, and the way everyone's opinions and expertise gets to be blended together so that we can create great combined stories.
What stands out the most about the reporting 14 East has done is that when you look at the whole package, from illustrations to the text to the graphics to the music, it's really unlike any student publication or really any online publication that I've been a part of or consumed. The reporting is equal parts ethical as it is vulnerable, and that really stands out. I think it provides everybody a platform to express themselves in a comfortable way in a supportive environment, and that really shows on the page or on the web page.
What is your most memorable newsroom moment? I think my most memorable newsroom moment is, since I was with 14 East from its inception until, well, not inception, but the first year until kind of when we got into the new newsroom, it would be moving from the 12th floor room where we all sat around this like small table. So then I think we were on like the top floor of 14 East Jackson. And then we moved from that to our current newsroom, which is that beautiful one that's in the Barnes & Noble next door. So we got you there.
Just going there was really great, and I miss it a lot. But I think overall, probably publishing my stories, particularly the one where I got to sit down and interview Beach Bunny, and the one I posted about women rappers, just knowing that I can write about my passion and that other people care and know that it's important.
The most memorable moment in the newsroom has got to be the last meeting that we had physically in person. It was the day after the coronavirus pandemic was officially called a pandemic. It was the day after we found out that all of our classes were going to be moved online in the spring. And we had totally changed our editorial calendar the night before, our lineup, so that we could cover this and answer as many questions as we could. And so we were all reeling, both from the change in editorial calendar and all the new stories we were trying to cover, but also from all of these changes that were happening so quickly and all of the unknowns. And it was, we knew there was a sense that this was the last time we were all going to be together. And I think what's really special about 14 East is we are such a community that not being in physical connection with one another was going to be a big change for us, even though we are mostly an online newsroom. And so it was a meeting where everyone was pitching in and trying to help us put this lineup together that we had created that day of so many different stories with so many different elements, and also trying to savor this last moment that we had together. I know I was very sentimental and took many videos of everyone, and I think I probably cried a few times, but that would definitely be a moment that I still to this day look back to and makes me smile.
I have many memorable newsroom moments. One of the famous memories is when Marissa Nelson and I were working on our investigative piece, The Night Shift, and we really wanted to get it done for the next Friday, but we still had a lot of editing and fact-checking to do, so the editorial team worked for as long as possible in the newsroom until we were kicked out, and then we worked in the Lincoln Park Library until we were kicked out, and then we worked in my apartment until 4 or 5 a.m., and I think that really demonstrates the insane inner drive that the 14 East staff has to complete projects. We could have held it for another week, but we just felt like it was time, and everyone worked together on that. But I also remember a lot of the birthday celebrations, the passing of the cookie. I also remember that everyone used to make fun of how messy my backpack was in the newsroom, and I miss that. And I also, this isn't a true newsroom memory, but our final Zoom meeting in the spring to celebrate the end of the year and graduates was probably the most sentimental, powerful thing connected to my graduation, because Marissa and Fran and Amy put so much work into making that meaningful for everyone, and it was really beautiful. So I'm very thankful for that.
So like anybody who's going to be answering these questions, there are way too many most memorable newsroom moments. But if I had to pick one, I would actually single someone out who's currently on staff, and that would be Richie Requena. I had the great pleasure of being Richie's first editor on his first completely original by himself piece for 14 East. And to see that and look at where he is now, I'm just flattered to be a part of his emergence. And it's a great example of the high ceiling and environment that 14 East provides people, where if you give people time, like 14 East does, if you give them a chance, just look at what they can accomplish. And Richie's just a a darn fine example of that?
14 East was probably one of the best parts of my college career, and it absolutely was the foundation of my journalism career. It helped me build the tools and building blocks needed to be where I am now, and it's just the beginning. So I'm so thankful for 14 East, and it is a necessary and essential part of Chicago journalism.
14 East is great. I wouldn't be where I am today without 14 East and especially Amy Merrick and the staff. It's really a great supportive club, and it's a place where you can really experiment and try a lot of new things. And I hate to sound like that person that graduates and then makes everything about your employers, but really, like, people will value that. They value kind of that digital engagement, digital initiatives, some fun storytelling that's new and unique. And especially a lot of the engagement work that 14 East pushes, like the open newsrooms or the, like coffee hours, or kind of these like staff writer engagement initiatives. So I just want to say that, like, it's a great club to be in, and I love it and miss it, and I hope the best for it in the future.
I think 14 East is a really special place because it really is a community. And I think that many of the people, if not everyone, who are a part of 14 East and who have been a part of 14 East, while you are part of it, of course, to build your portfolio and to help get you to wherever you want to go next, you're also part of it to be part of something that is bigger than you, bigger than your individual work. And I think that is something that you can see across the board reflected in the work that 14 East produces, from the public newsrooms to other events to engagement projects to how the stories are done, and all of the thought and time and intention that is put into making decisions before the project has even begun. And I think that shows through the work and through the quality of work that 14 East produces, and to the impact that 14 East stories have.
Lastly, I would like to just mention to everyone watching, if you're not involved with 14 East and you want to get involved, I highly recommend it. There's so many avenues of things to work on, but if you're just supporting, that's great. Please continue to do so by reading and sharing the staff's work, sharing social media, going to events, however you see fit. And with that, the staff will be able to continue to work on projects that they're super passionate about, and get everything done and be able to do more innovative stuff, which is great. And also, if anyone would ever like to talk to me about 14 East or something else related to journalism, I'm always around and available. But mostly I wanted to say I'm happy that 14 East and Friends has lived to see another year, and it's a little early, but happy 5 years to 14 East. Much love. Goodbye.